Today you're going to use OnShape to create your automata box. So the first thing we'll do is create a new folder. Your folder will be called Automata. I already have a folder called Automata, so for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to create another folder, and I'm going to call it Automata 1. You will call your folder Automata. I'll get into my Automata 1 folder, and I'm going to create a part. So I'll go down to Create, Document. And I'm going to call this Box because we're going to create the Automata box. Now there's two ways we can create this box. We could create each piece and then create an assembly and mate the pieces together, or we can create them in one file and create each part built upon the previous part. So we're going to use method 2. Now we know we have 4 sides that we're going to need to worry about for our box: the top, the bottom, the left, and the right. In OnShape, we're always going to orient the pieces the way they are in real life. So our bottom lays flat on the ground, and we're going to create our bottom as a sketch on the top plane. So we know that the size of that rectangle is 5 inches by 4 inches. And if I go back to my isometric view, I know I need to extrude this up 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to extrude my bottom piece, and I'm going to extrude it up 1/4 of an inch. So I can enter 0.25 or 1/4 here and extrude that up. You'll notice I now have a part 1. I'm going to end up in this file having 4 parts, so we need to be able to differentiate between them. So you're going to right-click on your part 1 and rename it. I always like to call my parts by the name of the file and then the actual name. So this would be box bottom. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create our left and our right sides, but we're going to create them with respect to the bottom. So to do that, we're going to create a very thin rectangle here that's the same distance from edge to edge, and we'll do the same thing here. Now I know the thickness of each piece that I'll be using for my automata box is 1/4 of an inch. So let's go to the top view and create a sketch on the bottom piece. And I'm going to make sure that when I create my rectangle, I'm right on the edge and that I see the yellow line, so I'm on the edge here. Okay, I'm going to make the width of this 1/4 of an inch. Okay, I'm also going to do the same exact thing on the right-hand side. So I'm going to create this rectangle and make that 1/4 of an inch. Let's save that. All right, we'll go back to our isometric view and we'll zoom in, maybe not too much. We'll zoom in because we're going to need to extrude this up. Now, I know that the height of my side piece is 4 inches. So I'm going to extrude this piece up 4 inches, but instead of adding it, I'm going to create it as a new part. When I do that, zooming in, you'll see these are definitely 2 different parts. In the past, we added a shape to another shape. This time we're doing new, and you'll see I have a part 2 that shows up. So since we see that part 2, let's right-click on it right away, and let's rename it, and we'll call it box, and this is the left side. Okay, you'll also notice that I can see this division line and that these are 2 separate items, two separate parts, but you'll also see they have 2 different colors. Okay, so let's come over and we're going to need to extrude this piece up. And it looks like we might have, let's see, it's still there. Let's see if we can select it. And if we can't select it, the easiest thing would be just to go back in and create another sketch on that bottom. We'll make it a rectangle from edge to edge and make it 1/4 inch. Okay, going back to our isometric view, let's extrude that side up 4 inches, making sure that it's a new part. Okay, if we just made it an add, it's okay, we can always fix it. We'll notice that that is one piece here because it's been added. To fix it, just double click on that extrusion and change it to a new. And when you do, it's 2 separate parts, 2 separate colors. We'll worry about the holes that we need to drill in just a moment. The last thing we need to do is place our top on top of our 2 sides. So let's go to the top view and we'll create a sketch. And we're just going to draw a rectangle from the edge to the edge and hit the green arrow. Going back to our isometric view, we can see that we have that drawn. But zooming in, you'll notice something interesting. It only goes from the edge of the left side over to this edge of the right side. So when we extrude, we need to extrude this shape, and we also need to extrude this. So to do that, let's go to our extrusion tool. We're going to select this face. We know we're going to extrude it up 0.25. Okay, and we're also going to need to select this piece. Okay, making sure that we have new selected, we'll click on the green check mark, and now we have the top, and it's been placed on top of the 2 sides. All right, last thing, the holes. So we're going to go to the right side to drill our first hole through. And I'm just going to zoom this a little bit. Okay, we know we're going to create a sketch on that right face. We know it's going to be a circle. And you're going to make this circle 3/8 of an inch. And that's because you're putting a square axle through instead of a circular one. So 3/8 of an inch. We're going to need to make sure that it's centered. So we'll choose the center of the circle to an edge. And we'll say that needs to be 2 inches. And we'll choose that same center to the edge. And we'll say that needs to be 2 inches. Okay, next, we're going to extrude that circle away. So choose the circle. You're going to remove it, and you're going to remove it through the entire shape. And now we have a hole. Let's go to the left side and do the same exact thing. Okay, so again, a sketch to the left side, a circle, 3/8 of an inch. Oops, escape. Let's see if we can fix this. So I'm going to say that. Okay, so probably let's just get rid of this and just start again, just to make it easy. Okay, so sketch on this face. We're going to make a circle, which is 3/8 of an inch. Okay, we're going to dimension that side to side, 2 inches. And then center to the edge of the side, which should be 2 inches. Notice I'm not centering to the bottom of the shape. If I did, it would need to be 2.25 inches. Okay, let's extrude that away. Notice we can't see it, but when we bring our pointer over, it shows up. I'm going to extrude, and I want to extrude this circle, and I want to remove it all the way through. And now I've got the hole on my front, on my left and my right. Let's go back to isometric view to make sure that we're oriented correctly, because we're going to create our 3 drilled circles on the top. So to do that, I'm going to start by creating a sketch on the top, and I'm going to start by creating a hidden line. Okay, so I'm going to drag from here to here, making sure it's straight. Okay, I'm going to hit the escape. I want to dimension this just to make sure that this hidden line is truly in the center. Wow, pretty good, huh? And it is in the center. Okay, that's over dimensioned, so we don't have to worry about that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to, let's escape, and we can remove that dimension. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to create our 3 circles. The center of the 3 circles are spaced 1 1/4 inch from the edge and from each other. So we'll create our first circle, and our circle is going to be 1/4 inch because we're using round dowels. Okay, and I must have entered 14 there, so let's see if we can fix that. 1/4 slash, okay, and we're going to create another circle on that hidden line. Okay, this time I'm going to enter 0.25 so I don't have that problem with the slash, and then we're going to put one more, 0.25. Okay, we don't have to dimension from edge to edge, but if we wanted to, we could just make sure that this to here is really 2 inches, and it is, so we're good. But we do need to measure from the center to this edge, and this needs to be 1.25. And then these two need to be spaced 1 1/4 away, 1.25. And then these two need to be spaced 1 1/4 away, 1.25. And then just to make sure we're on target, we're going to go from here to the edge, and that should be 1.25, which it is. Okay, we can just remove that because we never like to see red, and we're going to save. And now it's time to extrude them away. So we will extrude by removing and going all the way through this circle, and this circle. Notice I'm selecting the center of the circles. Okay, and I'm going to zoom in, and that looks right. So we'll click on the green check mark. We'll go back to our isometric view, and we have created our automata box. We forgot to rename, so we'll always come back here. So the third part that we created was our right side. And the fourth side was our top. So we'll rename that. And always make sure that you rename them. It will save you in the future when you're creating your assemblies. And you're done.